Hey, live from the comfort of our living room, it's James.
And Janet.
And we're doing our first podcast ever of Living the Scream. Yes, I portray Grimm Gorri.
And I portray Janet Decay.
On The Mummy and the Monkey Show. That's right. And, before we get things started, we're going to do a show shot, okay? A pre-show shot. That's right.
A show shot.
Mm-hmm. And we're going to do a little bit of a...
What shots you got?
My poison is Jägermeister tonight. Ooh. What's yours?
Mine, as always, my favorite too, Jack Daniels.
That's right, guys. She's a Jack Daniels kind of gal.
Oh, yes. And Jack Daniels and Janet Decay have the same initials.
That's right. Hey, and true. So we're gonna do a little cheers here, but we're gonna use the term chars. It was coined by some Cinema Wasteland friends, Jason Crazy and Headbanger came up with a version of cheers. And they just say chars, so we're gonna borrow that. Thanks, guys. So here's to our first show of Living the Scream, Janet.
Chars. Oop, how are we doing this?
Clink
so
first.
Smash it, clink the table, and then drink.
Hit it back.
Woo.
Smooth. Woo. Yeah, so I think we're going to do this show kind of in and out of character. So we'll start out as ourselves, as the Janet and James combo. Mm-hmm. And we also set it up tonight. We posted on Facebook requesting questions from our friends and fans out there that they would like to ask us as we do the show. So you'll hear Janet's phone ding throughout the episode.
Ooh, someone is writing a comment.
Oh, cool. Well, we'll get to those in a little bit. But and we also ordered Chinese food, so we're waiting for our delivery. So you'll be hearing all that, you know.
But also, if you don't know what we are, check out themummyandthemonkey.com.
That's right.
Easy to find, or just Google it. But it has our show links, video links, different channels that we're on, our Facebook, Instagram, all that fun stuff.
That's right.
And if you don't use that, we have our Gmail account too. So it's all on there. You can even mail a letter to our P.O. box.
Snail mail. Remember
Snail
that stuff?
Snail mail, yes, if you're that old school.
Everything is like themummyandthemonkey.com, themummyandthemonkey@gmail.com.
Yeah.
It's pretty basic stuff. So yeah, check us out, see what we do, and maybe it'll make all this make sense. So
yeah, and keep listening.
Yeah. I like these TV trays. They're very handy. I like.
They are. We've got everything set up on these little TV trays. Once we get our Chinese food, we'll have it all. Yeah.
We are literally in our living room on the couch on the sectional.
It's great. It's comfy.
TV's off, radio's off. We're on.
We can chit-chat in our jammies, and you can listen in your jammies, and that's what I love about it.
Or completely naked. We don't care.
Completely naked.
Maybe we'll do a naked show one day.
That would be funny.
It's again theater
People
of the mind.
Can use their imaginations.
Yeah, but we'll instead of sitting on cushion couches, maybe we'll sit on like metal chairs so they can hear the flesh slapping.
Bed of needles.
Yeah, the flesh slapping onto the.
Bed of nails.
We sit down. It's gonna be hard to fart.
Ouch.
But anyway, so tonight's subject we're gonna talk about the origins of Grimm Gorri, Janet Decay, and the Mummy and the Monkey and all that kind of stuff.
Right. Every character has their own humble beginnings, their own origins, and we get a lot of people that ask, "How did you guys start?
Right.
How did you meet? Etc. Etc." So, I don't know. How do you want to start this?
Ladies first. Let's hear the origin of Janet Decay.
Ooh, the origin of Janet Decay. Well, a long, long time ago, in 2010,
that is a while.
I was going to zombie walks in Lakewood in Cleveland, Ohio. There's different organizations that would do charity zombie walks, and you bring a couple cans of food, you get made up like a zombie, you get to walk around and go bar hopping. It's great. Mm-hmm. But I thought, what could I do that's a little bit different? That isn't just a zombie, because everyone knows zombies. Yeah, they're undead, they crave brains. But mummies, they're cursed, they're undead, they're a little bit different. So I thought, I'm going to make a mummy costume. So that was Janet Decay's first debut, and she didn't even have a name yet. Somewhere there's old photos of it.
Yeah, there's some footage and old photos that are on your Facebook page, I think. You have some of that stuff. Right,
and I think I should put them on the Janet Decay fan page eventually as well.
Yeah.
But in 2012, fast forward a little bit, yes, thank you, James.
You're welcome.
I did give her a name. I was helping to do movie reviews on a show called, or not a show, rather, but a website called Cinema Sarcophagus. So it was just helping out a friend write up some reviews, and that was my little pen name, and it kind of stuck where I really liked that name.
So you had the name, was it associated with the character, with the mummy character, or it was just
Originally I was going to maybe do something different, but I wanted to, in the end, I wanted to keep her as my mummy character. I wanted to, and I thought that'd be the perfect name for her.
Hey!
Ooh, the phone's ringing.
Who am this? We got a call, folks.
Hello? Yes, we did.
Oh. It's the Chinese food people calling back. Spring Garden. We love this place. It's
yes,
delicious.
1 can of Pepsi with the order, please.
Oh. See? Put it on speakerphone.
Oh. Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, bye-bye.
God, you gotta love it. So we ordered Chinese food from a place called Spring Garden. Sorry for the interruption, but hey, it's a live show, and that's the fun of it, right? So they called to
Stuff
confirm the
happens.
order.
Right, they wanted to make sure that you wanted Pepsi.
Yeah, that's right. Well, it doesn't matter.
James loves his Pepsi. That's his favorite pop. In Ohio, we call it pop.
Pop. That's right.
Yes.
It's my favorite pop.
Your favorite, down south, what do they call them? Cokes?
Soda. Other places. Northeast Ohio and other places around. It's pop or soda pop. If you can't make up your freaking mind.
Yes, but...
Do we curse on this show? No.
I was trying to not curse.
Okay,
on here.
no cursing. That's
so
good.
you have to put a quarter in the swear jar, James.
No cursing zone. I didn't curse. I said
I want to keep it where most people can
I said
listen.
friggin'. I did not say any...
We have friends that have little kids that might listen in.
I didn't curse Marge. I didn't say one thing like that. Anyway, go ahead. So continue with... So yeah, my question was about the Janet Decay. So you had the character for a zombie walk.
Mm-hmm.
Now for this show, you didn't... Did you portray yourself as a zombie? As the mummy?
No, you mean for the zombie walk or for the website that I did reviews for?
For the reviews, did you dress up like Janet Decay? Like the mummy character?
I would go to conventions, yes, like Days of the Dead, Cinema Wasteland, and I would dress up as the mummy character.
And did you call yourself Janet Decay then? Or was it just a name that you had for that
I called
movie
her
review?
Janet Decay because I thought, well, I might as well give her a name, and I'll just go with that. Because it's catchy, it's easy to remember, and I'm part Polish and I forget things.
Well, there you go. And how legit is that? A Cleveland-based horror host, and mind you, the first female, as far as we know, Cleveland-based or Ohio-based horror host.
Horror hostess.
Hostess. My
yes.
bad. Yeah, that she's part Polish. It's perfect. It's perfect. It fits right in there. So there you go. That's the the big Chuck and Little John, certain ethnic connection. If you're it's sort of an inside thing, Northeast Ohio. If you get it, the genre, you know what we're talking about. So go ahead. So
anyways,
2012.
Yeah, so I did that for a little while and it was fun. Mm-hmm. But after a year or so,
it wasn't fun.
We had a little falling out, and I wish Rick and the Cinema Sarcophagus crew the best. I wanted to do other things.
And unfortunately, you would think that you'd find the happiest people that get to dress up like monsters and creatures, and whether it's cosplay or horror hosting or whatever, you'd think they'd be the most fun. There's so much drama. It's weird. And I don't get it, but...
It is a little odd because,
sometimes,
you see people dressed up, and we dress up in our characters, and you hear the dirt on other hosts and their shows, and he said, she said, and it's really odd.
As they're dressed up like a werewolf or like a Dracula at a bar.
So it's hard to take them seriously when they're...
Half in their, 3 sheets to the wind, bitching about the Wolfman guy that he...
James.
Complaining about... bitching, not a bad word. Complaining about the other guy dressed up like something. We're all having fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's supposed to be that type of thing, but just like any other sort of business or industry, I guess.
As a horror host from Washington D.C. area once told me,
Count Gore Duvall. He said, "There's plenty of room in the coffin for everyone." That's right, and that's how it should be. So we're going back to we're still on. We're getting off track here.
I know we keep going off track, but anyways, is going down. So I stopped the Cinema Sarcophagus thing. And in 2013 and 2014, I was asked if, to help host a public access cable show in Cleveland called The Daughter of the Ghoul Show. Mm. And it was under DMK Productions. It was just some guy that was a fan of, Big Chuck and Little John and all that stuff. And he wanted to do something. Right. And that was what he wanted to name the show. Right. And I was asked by another film director that he was speaking with, if I wanted to audition and help host it. And I thought, oh, that's great. Yeah, I'll give it a try. Right. And I've been a B-movie actress in, straight-to-video type of movies.
Some of the titles, if you want to talk about them.
Like Revenge of the Spacemen.
Yep, by Jay Summers.
By Jay Summers.
Which was just bought by, optioned by Troma to be distributed.
Yes, it's going to be distributed by Troma Entertainment soon. So I can officially say I'm a trauma scream queen.
And we'll get to more of this later.
We can talk about that later.
Yeah,
we're getting... Ooh, I think I sold
she
something
sold
on eBay.
Hey, so we also opened recently... Okay, let's stick the origin. We'll get to the other stuff.
We'll go back to the other stuff.
There's a lot to talk about, right?
There's so much to discuss.
Yeah, so keep on with origins.
Daughter
of the Ghoul.
So I helped host the Daughter of the Ghoul show.
Right, you were technically the third host of that show. Because before that it was a character named Zay. Okay, so let me quick. The Daughter of the Ghoul show was a show that was created in 2012 by a guy named Danny Kristancic. And he was a
DMK
fan,
Productions.
right? He was a fan of Big Chuck and Little John, the Ghoul Goulardi, and he wanted to do his own thing. So he came up with this show that was an umbrella name, like the Tonight Show,
where
anyone could host it. But it was called It wasn't supposed to be a actual related relative, you know.
No, there was no relation, but we got a lot of.
Well, people would ask that. Are you the daughter? Are you really the daughter of Ron Sweet?
For it. Are you really the Ghoul's daughter?
Yeah, and everyone got asked the earlier versions, and then you. But so they would host this show under their they would host a show under their character. So it'd be the Daughter of the Ghoul show starring Janet Decay, hosted by Janet Decay. So people get that.
Yeah. Yeah. So we did that for a little while, and James was involved because you used to work out of state. You traveled a lot for work and different jobs, and then you came back to Cleveland.
2012, I came. Yeah, we'll get to that in a second. So just stick with.
But you helped
the Janet Decay.
You helped with the show, and that's how we met. But,
right. Janet Decay origins. So you hosted that show for a while, for like 2 years.
Hosted the show for almost 2 years, and it was a lot of fun. Did a lot of different events. Learned a lot of.
Met a really great guy.
Yeah, met this chump. Learned what to do, what not to do regarding the character, public appearances, how to put a show together.
Right.
And thought, we had a little bit of a falling out, but I wished him well. Where he told me the show was canceled and didn't want to answer back calls or emails.
Yeah, and I think he's currently involved with some local wrestling type of stuff shows and polka show too. Where
he does polka music, cable shows, and then he tapes wrestling events. So he's still involved in like the Cleveland and Northeast Ohio community.
In my heart, there's no anger or hate. I think the guy had really good intentions on putting the show together.
Right.
We have all these episodes archived, and they're interesting. They're fun. They're interesting to watch.
Sometimes painful to watch.
But that's okay. But you get to see the Janet Decay character and persona develop as well.
Originally, Janet Decay was more of a dark character.
Yes.
She was a silent film actress.
If you dig deep enough on the internet, you can. there is some stuff out there.
My terrible writing.
Yeah, about the origins of which have been sort of revamped.
So the gist of it, she was a silent film actress in the 1920s in Cleveland.
Let's preface this. This is the origin, the origin of the character.
Yes.
So go ahead.
All right. Can I talk now?
Yes, I'm going to shut up. I'm going to drink my beer.
She was a silent film actress in the 1920s in Cleveland. There was a little film studio, and she was supposed to be in a Cleopatra silent picture. There were some props involved that were really cool, but she found out later that they were ancient Egyptian artifacts. There was a sarcophagus and an ankh. Well, she wanted to go into the sarcophagus. She wanted to try out this ankh necklace, and she became the undead mummy.
Right, she stepped in. And so on our show, on The Mummy and the Monkey, we do a segment called Rotten Reel. Janet Decay's Rotten Reels.
Janet Decay's Rotten Reels, yes.
And it's her own little 10-minute-ish segment there where she gets to talk about whatever she wants. Independent filmmakers, local stuff that's attractions,
interviews,
things like that. Who knows?
Some little video clips. And it's a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun, yeah. But the intro kind of shows a little bit of this. So if you're familiar with the show, you know what we're talking about. If not, go check it out on themummyandthemonkey.com. But you will see she does a cool little montage of exactly how Janet Decay, the character, became who she is now. She gets locked in an old mystical sarcophagus that has is cursed, and she's trapped there for decades.
For 80 some odd years, and I wake up in 2013, 2014.
Yeah, and then she's just.
So originally when I had created the Janet Decay character, she was more out for revenge, angry, what's going on? Hey, I'm this undead mummy, and I'm in the future.
And this was before she was on the Daughter of the Ghoul show, and then she revamped this character to be more of an actress that was cursed.
And
from the 1920s.
As the character evolved, she was like less angry, less dark, less scary,
more bubbly,
more of like a perky goth. If you guys have ever read comic books, there's a comic book called Sandman.
I'm sure a lot of people that are listening to this right now. Yes,
there's
read
the
comic
character.
Books. We do too.
The character called Death, and she's like this perky little cutesy goth girl. Or maybe like an Elvira perky goth girl. So I wanted her to be. Is this still recorded?
I don't know.
Are we having a computer issue?
What's going on?
Uh-oh.
We're gonna take a break here, folks.
Yeah, let's take a break and
we'll pick up where we left off.
Difficulties.
Yeah, we'll pick up where we left off right here on Living the Scream with Janet and James. Oh, it's back on. Okay.
Oh, okay.
You know what? Forget that.
Okay, forget the break. Never mind.
Right, there's going to be some technical issues. This is our first time doing this, and hey, what can I say?
You can always pause this if you have to go pee.
What about if I have to poop?
You might have to pause it a little longer.
All right, okay, continue.
Where was I?
You were talking about so where she came out,
right. She's right. She was originally like this dark, angry kind of scary chick.
Her demeanor,
and now she's more bubbly, perky, still spooky and weird, and a little decayed with her weird eyeball. But a lot of kids say I look like a Monster High doll.
They do, yeah.
They think I'm Monster High,
right?
Which is fine, and that's cool that I'm not scaring them.
But you get that, and I get Planet of the Apes every time.
Yeah.
So.
Or what's that? The Humans?
Yeah,
is that a comic book?
That's right. But I had never heard of this thing when we talk about the Grimm Gorri character.
We can talk about Grimm Gorri in a little bit.
But so wrap up the origin of Janet Decay. So you did the Daughter of the Ghoul show, and then she met Grimm Gorri. I also worked on the Daughter of the Ghoul show behind the scenes. I did artwork for the CD covers, the DVD covers, helped with camera work, came up with characters. I actually portrayed a few characters, including Grimm Gorri on the old show before Janet was on.
Whoa!
Hey,
geez.
This is all live, baby.
Wow!
That's right. Deal with it.
Gross! It smells like Jaeger.
Well, I drank Jaeger, so yeah, I would imagine a burp.
Next time you burp, go turn your head the other way.
All right.
Okay.
We'll do. That wasn't cool. Sorry. That wasn't romantic at all. Sorry.
Not at all.
All right. So anyway, so I portrayed Grimm Gorri on the third or fourth episode of the first version of the Daughter of the Ghoul show with Zathan as the hostess, and that's a character I actually came up with in the early 1990s just for fun. A buddy of mine we wanted to do a show just on our own because video cameras were out then.
Was that when you were in New Jersey?
No, Cleveland, Ohio.
Oh, you were still in Cleveland.
But let's wrap up. So Janet Decay and it met Grimm Gorri on the set of
the Daughter of the Ghoul
show. And then things happened. I looked into her eyes and I was like, hey, you know what? We need to hang out a little bit. And we did, but we gelled really good as far as
even before we were dating, we were really good friends.
Yeah,
and I thought there's something special about this guy. He's really nice, really talented, and he likes, we get it. Like, we love the horror hosting stuff. Right. We love the
horror movies.
Yes, horror movies.
Independent films.
Comic books.
She was an actress in independent, and I thought that was awesome. She comes up with ideas. I basically said she was my muse because as a creative person, as an artist, illustrator, and then doing this film stuff, she would say things, and I would just go, "Whoa, that's very good." I mean, it would get me motivated to expound on it, and I love that kind of stuff. I love the springboard sort of creativity, and
right. Well, I would say random, well, how about we do this, or come up with a silly name or something, and then he would use that to put together a script,
right,
or to do something,
And it keeps going. I mean, we constantly come up with stuff. Brainstorming the show tonight. I mean, we brainstormed 5 minutes before we were gonna, and we had all these ideas. I don't know if they're good or not, but I like doing them, like ordering the food, as we do the show.
Having the show shot.
Burping. Yeah, well, everything's gonna be live. Get ready, because that's nothing. And then, waiting for questions to come through. We're going to answer questions in a second.
I see my phone's lighting up. I didn't hear it beep.
Yeah, so let's do that after we do
Why don't you finish up your Grimm Gorri?
Yeah, I'll start Grimm Gorri. Let's take a break, and I'll get on with Grimm Gorri. Right after this, stay tuned. You're listening to Living the Scream with Janet and James. That's right, also known as Janet Decay
And
Grimm Gorri.
from Me and the Monkey Show.
That's right, folks. We'll be right back. Hey, welcome back to Living the Scream with Janet and James from The Mummy and the Monkey Show. That's right. Again, we're here in the comfort of our living room. We got little pumpkins and little blow-molded pumpkin people in our fireplace, glowing orange all year round. We love it.
They're not burning in the fireplace.
No.
They're emitting a lovely orange glow.
They are.
Halloween is a year-round state of mind.
That's right, and we love it. And it's in our living room, making it fun and homey, waiting for our dang Chinese food to come.
They should be here any minute.
I am so famished.
I am starving.
I'm famished and hungry. Very hungry.
Yes. So you might hear our stomachs growl on here.
That's right. So
or that.
Again, you never know what you're going to hear here. Here.
On Living the Scream.
Okay, right. So we heard the origins of Janet Decay. We heard where she came from, her humble beginnings.
Yes.
And the character. And now we're going to move on to
Grimm Gorri.
Grimm Gorri. That's right. Well, Grimm Gorri. Let's see. I created the character Grimm Gorri probably in the early 1990s. A friend of mine, Yancey Walker, from high school, we both were really heavy into the Big Chuck and Little John show, Houlihan and Big Chuck, the Ghoul, Superhost, things like that. There were local Cleveland horror-hosted, movie-hosted shows that came on late night or Saturday mornings, and we're obsessed with it. And with the advent of video camera technology back in the late 80s, early 90s, we thought, hey, we'll just do our own show. Now, I do have some of this stuff on videotape still. And we'll release it probably, if anyone gives a crap, at some point on one of our DVDs or VHS compilations that we're working on.
Yeah, we were toying around with the idea of putting together a special limited edition VHS of The Mummy and the Monkey.
Yeah, like close to 6 hours of stuff.
Just like all this extra footage, all this video that we've been sitting on.
Stuff that's a lot easier to put onto something like videotape.
It won't fit all on a DVD.
It could, but it would be several. But anyway, so I came up with this character who was not a monkey at first. It was or an ape. It was more of like an Igor with a droopy eye and a weird fright wig type of character. And I think the name Grimm Gorri kind of popped into my head, but it's based on a show called a Chinese version of Ultraman called Spectraman. Spectraman. Yeah, it was.
I've heard of it. I haven't seen it.
It's sort of a Chinese Ultraman knockoff, and we're waiting for Chinese food. But yeah, but there was a villain in there who was an ape named Grimm something like that, or Dr. Gory. That was his name.
Dr. Gory.
Yeah. So it must have been that, and maybe that bat toy that was out for a while called. His name was Gregory or Gregory. So maybe it was amalgamation, just kind of popped into my head. The name just sounded right. Grimm Gorri. I liked it. I used it. It was just, again, something that just popped into my head. Didn't start out as an ape character, and it wasn't until I went to a unique thrift store in Bedford, Ohio, where I found this plastic monkey mask. It was a blow-molded plastic monkey mask with a hinged jaw. And I bought that. I looked at that. I said, yep, that's Grimm Gorri right there. Our cats are fighting. So I revamped the character in the early to mid 90s with this monkey mask. Whoa!
You shove him away.
Black cat fever. So I came up. So I just expounded on the character, revamped it a little bit as a monkey. Go ahead.
But it wasn't just the mask. Like, you also put an outfit together, and the same
right.
with us. And that's something we both forgot to touch on. Is that we also do crafts. We make our own costumes.
Right.
Put together our own.
This is before the word cosplay for me anyway was ever a word. I mean, it wasn't even a coined term until probably the 2000s. I think cosplay became a coined term.
Right.
But yeah, it was creating a character to do a sort of a movie show host that I would only have taped. And watched it myself. There was no way to really broadcast this type of stuff back in the 90s, obviously. Early 90s anyway. The internet wasn't a thing yet. But it was just a passion of mine to do something that I watched as a kid growing up and I loved. But I kept the character. I would always come up with ideas as an artist illustrator on what to do with it. And in the early 2000s, I had to move to Rhode Island for work, to take a job out there. And they had a cable access channel that I put together a show for, because it was like, hey, it was very simple. When cable access was really simple to do this with, before you had to take out like $1 million insurance policy, like a lot of them do now, to kind of deter people from doing this. And that's why all those infomercials are on cable access, and not a lot of these like cool little unique programs that used to be on there. Anyway, so I came up with a show called The Grimm Gorri Show, and had like 2 episodes air when I was in Rhode Island on their cable access channel.
Maybe we should throw that up on our
I
YouTube.
have, and I do have them. Actually, the first thing I show is an episode of Spectre Man.
Nice. I bet people would want to see that.
Yeah, I put sound effects in the movies, did all the editing on VHS. And then, and it was all VHS. And computer, I did the sound effects on a computer on my old iMac. And but then transferred everything to VHS and have submitted a VHS tape to the cable access channel.
That's a lot more work than what we do now.
But it worked. I mean, I figured out how to do it. This is before all these programs were really available. They might have been available then, but the computer power you had to have was immense. And the computers that were available, the PCs and the Macs at the time, they couldn't really do. I mean, you had Premiere and all those other things in Corel, whatever. But you had to have like some super power. And even then, it would just eat all your RAM up and everything.
Mean, back then we were happy with Oregon Trail, so you really couldn't. That was like the best it could do on some computers.
One day I will go through the process that I used to, if anybody cares, that I used to actually do a whole show, like put it together with the sound effects, because it was a really involved process, but it worked. I did all the taping on the computer, all the audio, and then I would sync it up with the video when I would tape the movie or whatever. From VHS to VHS tape, player to player, I would put the audio in from my computer and sync up the audio with the movie. It was a very involved, laborious process, but I loved the genre and I wanted to do it, no matter what it took. But anyway, so again, the character Grimm Gorri just came from just an abstract idea of doing a character named that, and then it turned to an ape guy.
Well, you've always been a fan of King Kong and then those kind of movies.
Isn't?
Right. So do you think that influenced you
Maybe.
to make a monkey character?
Maybe. And
or an ape character?
Yeah, because I think, right. And another thing, like Big Chuck and Little John, these guys, movie hosts like that, they're just themselves. I don't think I'm that interesting as a person or as a character. But I love to do voices and impressions. And I think that's just an extension of art. Art is just basically, and drawing is just sort of imitating what you see, and then even making up your own version of whatever it is that you see. The same thing with, coming up with things like this. So, yeah, I wanted to create a character, much like you did, without even knowing who you were at the time, obviously, and nor you knew I. Come up with something that stood out, that wasn't just, hey, I'm James, I'm a horror host. Nobody.
It wasn't just like someone in a top hat or a girl in a little black dress. It was something unique.
Right, and that was even before
not bashing anyone in a top hat or a little black dress.
Absolutely not. Right, but right, right. And most people, when they think of, there's a lot of Ghoul knockoffs. People that wear a lab coat or and a fright wig, which is fine. But I've always wanted to create even when I did because I'm a big comic book fan, and me and my brother Joe would sit up all night and come up with our own comic book characters, loosely based on existing ones that were popular, but we did venture out and do our own, and then some that were really off the hook and weird. So the same process, I applied the same process to coming up with the. I didn't even really think about it; just kind of was there. Like that movie Chaplin with Robert Downey Jr. We always refer to that movie.
Oh,
you
yes.
and I.
When we say something is glowing.
Yeah, there's a part in there. It's really, really done geniusly, and we even hear it from other creative people. But like Ralph today, we talked to him.
Or something just talks to you. It talks to you.
Yeah, there's a scene in the movie Chaplin where he walks into like a tent that has a lot of props in it. He has to come up with
costumes and things.
And he has to come up with a character real quick. And and they sort of illustrate it visually, where he looks at this like receptacle of canes and stuff, and one cane glows, and a hat glows.
The bowler hat.
Yeah, he puts together the tramp character that everybody knows and loves. And that's based on what I think a lot of creative people, I don't care if it's music, film, dance, you see things, and you just sort of see them, and you're like, yeah, that's it. And I saw that with the mask that was sitting on. I'll never forget. I don't know what I had for dinner yesterday, but I'll never forget walking into that thrift store and seeing that mask laying on top of like of a bunch of like where the racks where they have the coats and clothes. How they'll put in the thrift stores, how they put the stuff on top of that.
Yeah.
Sitting there, I was like, hey, I gotta have that. That's Grimm Gorri. I remember thinking that.
Oh, my phone buzzed.
All right. So anyway, so that character evolved into the Grimm Gorri that you see today.
And also, and I forgot, because you said, you talked about your inspiration with Janet Decay. Like, I remember being a kid in 6th grade learning about ancient Egypt, and I thought that was so cool.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I would take out books from the library about mummification.
Yeah.
And the Egyptian mythology. So, and it's funny, like, and I never thought years later that, hey, I'm going to create a mummy character, but I guess my inner 12-year-old was like, hey, let's pretend we're a mummy.
Right. It was good fodder to come up with something. And so now the origin of Grimm Gorri, the sort of thing that we come up with, like the story behind.
Yeah, so what's his story, Grimm Gorri?
The character. Well, after a lot of thinking, and again, after the early 2000s when I did that show twice in Rhode Island, I kind of just always toyed with doing something, and nothing happened until 2012. Fast forward to that, when I got involved with the Daughter of the Ghoul show, as a again behind-the-scenes guy. Brought up the fact that I wanted to do this character named Grimm Gorri, and the guy at the time was like, "That's fine, let's do that." And the intent was to parlay it into my own show, to have like a spin-off type of show from Daughter of the Ghoul, to have Grimm Gorri's eerie cinematary, I was going to call it, and we still kind of talk about that on the show. We actually the Mummy and the Monkey show is all now shot in Grimm's cinematary.
Well, not all shot. I still have my rotten.
Right. But now you're located in the art down below in the catacombs.
Right. My Rotten Reels set has been moved to the Erie Cemetery.
Right, in the below in the catacombs, deep in the catacombs.
Ooh,
below it's a cemetery. So I'll give you the Grimm Gorri story.
There you go. What's the story, Grimm Gorri?
1958 in Cleveland, Ohio, the first horror host was Mad Daddy. He was a DJ, and they turned him into a horror host. So I started thinking like A.J. Abrams style. I was like, you know what? Let me do something where I kind of rewrite Cleveland horror host history without doing any damage to the existing history, the actual history. So I thought it would be funny or interesting to come up with a fictional TV station called WOPU, Channel 42, a local station. And the idea there would be in 1958, this guy or this ape man named Grimm Gorri auditioned to be Cleveland's first horror host, because at the time, the horror hosting origins, in reality, Universal released their monster package
of
movies.
Did they do like the creature features?
Yeah,
and what was the other one called?
It was whatever Ghoulardi called his show, Shock Cinema or something like that.
Shock Theater.
Shock Theater.
So, and this was way before you can just rent a tape at Blockbuster,
right. So
or watch something on Netflix. So
in the early 50s, Universal released their monster pack, and the stuff was okay. I mean, it wasn't well received. So a lot of local stations across the country thought it would be good to come up with a horror host to host these movies. That's where Vampira came from, in California.
Yes, she was the first horror hostess. Pretty much. And pretty much like the grandmother of all the other horror hostesses. Yeah. Horror hostesses.
That too.
And speaking of that, I was recently published in a book.
Good. What's called the name of the book?
And The Mummy and the Monkey got a mention. Vampira's Daughters.
That's right.
Vampira's
Check
Daughters.
Check that on Amazon.com. Right?
It's on Amazon.
So
I get nothing out of it, just a really cool mention in the book. So that was really nice of them to do.
Right.
So if you bring that book to any of the conventions, I'll sign it for you.
That's right. And I'll watch you sign it as Grimm Gorri. So based on that sort of the whole inception of that, of horror hosting in the country, around the country, I thought it'd be funny to go back and rewrite the Cleveland version of horror hosting, where we had Mad Daddy in 1958. The show was on for less than a year. It didn't really catch on. And it wasn't until 1963 when Ernie Anderson, a.k.a. Ghoulardi, ruled the Cleveland airwaves, late night airwaves, from 63 to 66 as the Ghoulardi character. All of a sudden, and he showed bad B movies and made fun of them. They put sound effects in the movies. He was part of them. He would jump into the movie, be superimposed in there.
Right.
And Big Chuck Shadowski was the producer of the show, and he came up with a lot of those ideas. But anyway, So based on that whole thing, I said, well, what if there was a station that tried to do this in 1958 and come up with a character or a host for these movies? So Grimm Gorri was alive back then. He's this like fictional character who just never ages or anything because he's a monkey guy. But back then he auditioned. The show went into shambles. The station went under, didn't do well. The show got canceled.
So what did you do?
So he just kind of lumbered around Cleveland for the past, bunch of decades until the advent of the internet, where because anyone can have a show. So Grimm Gorri was supposed to be Cleveland's first horror host. Station went under. Show never got aired. There's a Christmas special I put together that's supposed to be from 1958 out there on the internet. That's kind of fun.
Did we put that up on our YouTube, or was that on yours?
It's on my YouTube. We'll have to
Yeah, you need to re-upload it to the Mummy and Monkey channel.
So that's the story. Is that Grimm Gorri was supposed to be Cleveland's first horror host, didn't work out in 1958. Fast forward to 2012 or
whenever Decay woke up, we sort of met up.
We joined forces and created the Mummy and Monkey show.
Right.
Hey,
and the rest is history.
That's right, or not.
Or not.
We'll see. It's too early to tell that.
And every region had their own horror hosts.
Right.
And I love that all over the country there's all these different creepy characters that would, I guess, scare you as a kid on TV.
That's right. And a side note to that, there's a convention called Horror Hound in Cincinnati, Ohio.
And in Indianapolis.
Right, they do it twice a year.
We always attend the Cincinnati one.
Right, we're a part of the Horror Host Hall of Fame. And every April or every spring we get to, in Cincinnati, we get the pleasure, the honor of inducting a horror host or hostess from the past into the Horror Host Hall of Fame.
Yes, and this we've done this about
twice so far.
This year would have been our third time.
Who did we induct before?
There was Misty Brew in 2015.
That's right, okay.
She was a horror hostess from Kansas City.
Yeah.
Really cute vampire lady.
Yeah. Misty Brew.
Misty Brew, yes. If you ever want to look her up.
Year 2 was Ghost Host.
Year 2 was Ghost Host, and he was Philadelphia area.
I think so,
or somewhere out, Pennsylvania.
And then this year we got to induct
Ghoulita, the Mae West of the Graveyard. And she was on TV in 1963, same year as when Ghoulardi was on TV in Cleveland.
Out of California.
And she was she was on TV in Los Angeles, Channel 13 out there, just for a year. That's in
California.
She hosted Jeepers Creepers Theater.
Oh, my.
There's another guy that was Jeepers, but she did it for a year, and then I think other people took over, and she pursued like a stage career and was involved in a lot of theater stuff.
Yeah. And we like
productions.
We like to think Halloween Jack. Who else?
And Halloween Jacqueline, his lovely, beautiful wife.
Yeah, and all the people that are involved with the Horror Host Hall of Fame.
Jason Hignite.
Yep.
He's the man behind all that too.
Yeah. And so we're involved with that. So horror hosting is something that's still around, very much so. I mean,
there's a ton of us all over the internet.
And we used to be on. I say, and this is up to recently. So people say, "Where's your?" Let me stop.
Oh, this is a big rant. Yeah, huge rant.
Let's take a break. We'll come back and we'll talk about where we can be seen on TV. That's a whole nother show. I'm gonna we'll do that subject later. But we're gonna come back. We're gonna take a break, and when we come back, maybe we'll have our food.
Yeah, I'm hoping the food shows up.
We'll answer the questions that we got. Cool. All right. We'll see you in a second.
Stay tuned.
You're listening to
Living the Scream.
And we're back. Okay, welcome to Living the Scream with Janet and James, who portray the Mummy and the Monkey, Grimm Gorri and Janet Decay on
The Mummy and the Monkey Show.
That's right. Okay, so
still no food.
Yeah, we haven't got our Chinese food
starving.
Yet. These drinks are really making me loopy, but that's okay.
Yeah, we're drinking and we haven't had food yet, so
that's a Crown and ginger you're hearing right there.
Next
Listen to
sip?
that. Sure.
Okay, thanks.
Have a sip.
So we wanted to get to the questions, right?
We have questions. Yeah, we asked the Facebook family out here to throw us some questions, and we got 3 questions, I think, to answer.
3 questions.
That's right.
We sort of put the post like kind of out there randomly.
Yeah, and we'll do it a little earlier. We'll do it like maybe a few days in advance next time we do this, and we might even take phone calls.
Ooh, that would be cool to do phone calls in the future.
Why not? Just give.
Okay, so let's start with the first question, and this is from Kenji Jumaine Marshall from Michigan. Question: are the Mummy and the Monkey going to get married?
Well, if you know Janet and James, you know that Janet and James got married in real life.
Yes.
Last Saturday.
We got married last Saturday.
April 15th.
Isn't that crazy?
April 15th, tax day. I don't know what that means.
Happy 1 week anniversary.
Happy 1 week anniversary, my love.
Can I kiss you on the air?
Mwah. All right, there you go. Ugh, everyone's throwing up now out there.
Germs.
Blah. Anyway, James Germs. Germs harm.
But originally, our characters, they're really good friends. They're great hosts with one another.
Janet, Decay, and Grimm Gorri on the Mummy and the Monkey show
are currently not dating.
Right. No.
They're not an item. They're not married.
No.
But we may put that in the storyline since art imitates life.
To quote Janet, stay tuned.
Right.
Let's see what transpires.
Yeah, there might be some shenanigans going on where the Mummy and the Monkey end up getting married.
See if they get past the first layer. We'll see.
We'll find out.
Yeah. So so will the Mummy and the Monkey get married? I don't know. It's interesting. It could be something.
It's possible.
Fodder for a future show, but we'll see.
It might make for a great story.
Yeah, we have some ideas. So stay tuned. Watch the show. Catch up. We only have like 11 episodes out now.
Well, and then we have 4 specials too.
4 specials, 11 episodes. So check us out on themummyandthemonkey.com.
We're wrapping up. We're almost done with season 2 and planning some things for season 3.
And we just uploaded our latest episode, which we shot at our new store we opened up in Lakewood, Ohio, called The Mummy and the Monkey's Thrift Crypt. Yeah, it's a thrift boutique. Lots of odd and unusual things and some everyday stuff. But
it's like instead of just sorting through a regular thrift store and finding like just a bunch of crap.
Here, the Chinese guy's here.
Oh, okay.
Food guy.
Then I'll talk about the thrift store.
He is Chinese, but he's got food too.
Ooh, there goes the doorbell.
Where's the money?
It was right here.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, you want to pay the guy.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he might make you wash the dishes or something.
All right, here we go.
It was the side door, right?
Yeah. Is he open? No, he's right in front.
But it's more like a thrift boutique where we have like some oddities, some jewelry, like our Mummy and Monkey merchandise, DVDs, VHS tapes. Ooh, we got food, records. Woo. Just some cool stuff, some little gift items, a little, whatever we think would be cool for the shop, we bring it in.
Yeah, so what's the address, the thrift crypt?
It's 13349 Madison Avenue in Lakewood, Ohio. We're right by May Halls, right by a lot of great bars and restaurants, so you could go bar hopping, go get a bite to eat.
There's $1 on the floor. Hey, also, we offer stuff and can send stuff out on online, on eBay.
Right, and sometimes I'll do posts on Facebook, or I'll...
We ship everywhere.
Yeah, we can ship almost anywhere. I have an eBay store too, so if you look us up on eBay, The Mummy and the Monkey, you can see the 100 items I have on there, and it should be growing too. I've got more things I can list.
10 million strong and growing. Nice. All right, so
what's the forks?
What's the second question? I'll serve the food.
Oh yes, well you serve the food up. I'm going to get the second question. All right, moving right along.
It smells great. As always.
Jeffrey Allen Arnett. He's a fan and friend of us, so thank you, Jeffrey. Can't wait for the podcast. Let us know when it's available. What's the URL? What's the URL?
Yeah. Everybody loves URL.
URL. Well, if you're listening to this, you already have the URL, and I'll be sharing it all over the interwebs. We're going to add it to our YouTube channel and possibly some other places as well.
Damn right.
We have a friend named Dino that runs the, what's it called, like the Late Horror Show?
Yeah, and he's asked us to do, if we wanted to do a show, and we would love to, obviously, a podcast, and that's what this is what we're doing right now, and it's on Horror Town. Horror Town is the name of the podcast channel.
So we may end up on there, too.
That's right. We're hoping so.
But yeah, if you're already listening, you probably have the info already.
Ooh, whoa, these veggies look good.
Don't spill our... Watch that. You've got all those sauces and...
Thank you.
Ooh, spring rolls.
Damn right.
Fortune cookies.
Delicious.
Yummy.
Oh, fortune cookies, Marge.
All right. So moving on to the third question.
So like, before we get that, what are we eating tonight? Eating tonight at the Chinese food you have.
The one I picked out was the steamed mixed vegetables with white rice.
From the special diet menu.
From the special diet menu, because it doesn't have any sauce or MSG or any of that crap. It's just something a little more healthy.
Boring.
Boring, yes. And then I have my veggie spring rolls
there
with
you go.
it. I love spring rolls.
Something deep fried. Yes, and
they're not greasy, they're crunchy.
That's right, and I prefer the lo mein. It's a special combo. It's lo mein and fried rice, chicken lo mein fried rice. Deliciousness. There's your white rice right there. There's my egg roll, sauces, and your fortune cookie. Hey, read your fortune.
We should read our fortune. Let's eat the dessert first.
Okay, last question.
Last question. And this is from Kenji. Thank you, Kenji Jermaine Marshall.
All right, Kenji.
Who watches this stuff? Meaning, now that you've been doing it for a while, and you have an idea of who your viewers are. Is it old geeks like me? Kids? Aliens? Just trying to put a face on the audience? That's a good question, Kenji.
Yeah, and Kenji has a show called Frankie. Yeah, and they're out of Kalamazoo, Michigan. And they also have a radio show you can listen to called Horror Show Radio. And that can be heard on WIDRFM.org. That's WIDRFM.org. What was the question? Oh, who's our audience?
Who's our audience?
You know, it's interesting.
Wide variety of people.
Yeah, because we get a lot of we do Cinema Wasteland. That's one of our favorite conventions to do in Cleveland. It happens twice a year as well in Strongsville, Ohio, at the Holiday Inn. We have kids that come up to us and love us, and their parents as well. We had a gentleman come up and he said we were the highlight of his of the show for him because he loves horror hosting. He wasn't even a Clevelander. He's from Indiana.
Yeah.
And he's like a huge fan of horror hosting and he likes to see that it's still going on. And people get excited to see The Mummy.
We've had a lot of Canadians recently show interest too.
Yeah, there's all kinds of people, and I get surprised, and we're both always overwhelmed when someone says that they like the show. Matter of fact, there's a fella named the Clay Guy who does clay figurines of mostly horror movie icons and characters, and he did a sculpture of Janet Decay's character. That was debuted at this Cinema Wasteland, this year's Cinema Wasteland.
So he hand makes all of these clay figurines. So if you go on clayguy.com, you can contact him. And I'll have some clay figurines, very limited numbers, in my shop for sale too, and I could sign them. But he makes these in small batches, so they are collectible. You're not going to find them just at any store.
We have a few for sale at the Thrift Crypt, and you can order them online, and we'll send them to you.
Right, or if you stop in, depending on where you're from.
Yeah, so depends. I'm sure I'm hoping a lot of people are listening to this that aren't just from Cleveland.
But rumor has it he's working on a Grimm Gorri figurine.
That's
so
right.
Soon we'll have the Mummy and the Monkey immortalized in clay. And that is an honor that someone put the time and effort to do that.
That's right. We are. So far it's been pretty amazing, and we have seen a lot of different people from all walks of life that like the show. So it'd be nice to be able to build up more of a fan base and see.
Spring rolls.
Yeah.
Sorry, I wanted to take a bite.
No worries, Crunchy.
Crunch.
We're getting close to the end of the show here. So, anything we want to talk about before we sign off from the first episode of our podcast, Living the Scream?
Oh, geez. I'm not sure. I'm like running out of words here. I'm just like, thank you for listening. If you want to hear and see more of us, check out themummyandthemonkey.com.
Right.
We're going to try to make this a weekly thing where there's going to be consistently a new podcast. We don't always make new videos every week. It's maybe like once a month.
It's a very time-consuming process.
Right.
So the Mummy and the Monkey show is written, shot, edited, everything. The whole ball of wax by Janet and I. And it takes a long time. We work day jobs, with square jobs and everything. But we try to do this as often as we can. And maybe the podcast is an easy way to maybe kind of buffer anyone that wants to know about what's going on with us in between shows. So, So anyway, I want to thank you for listening to
Living the Scream
with Janet and James right here. And we both are Grimm Gorri and Janet Decay
from
the Mummy and the Monkey Show. Thanks for listening, guys, and hope to hear from you. Write us and let us know what you think.
TheMummyandTheMonkey.com.
That's right. See you later, alligators.
Thanks so much.
This Chinese food. Come on, let's eat. This is really good. Lo mein, lo mein, lo mein. What's your fortune?
It says, deep faith eliminates fear on the toilet.
There we go.
We're supposed to read them and always end it with on the toilet.
That's right. So we'll see you next time on Living the Screen on the Toilet.
Yeah.